Hi, welcome to the Bounty Chronicles, and more importantly, this 5-part series that I wish existed before I started my journey. Over the next few episodes, I'm going to walk you through exactly what I did to consistently lose weight using Mounjaro or Tirzepatide weight loss injections. So whether you're on your own GLP-1 journey or thinking about starting, this series is here to give you honest, real-world insight and practical tips you can actually use. But without further ado, let's get into it. Episode 3, pre-injection prep and the first injection. The pre-injection prep side, I think, is incredibly important. If I was to do this again, the first two things that I didn't do, which I definitely would, is firstly, speak to my GP sooner. I know a lot of people don't want to tell people they're taking Mounjaro, but having the GP understand that you're on it and be able to give assistance where needed, really important. Secondly, getting baseline blood tests done. Now, this is something I didn't do. If you are new to the channel, I'll leave a link for the video for the blood test palaver I've gone through. I think having baseline bloods done before entering into this is really important, and I wish I'd done it, because then understanding where you're at before Mounjaro can really benefit later down the line, having more blood tests done and making sure that the medicine isn't affecting you adversely. Next is calculating your TDEE, or total daily energy expenditure. I'll leave a link for the website that I used. It's called tdeecalculator.net. Really useful tool. All you have to do is input age, gender, weight, height and activity level, and then it'll give you your BMI, your ideal weight, and also maintenance calories. It'll also give you a macro breakdown, so the proteins, fats and carbs you need. If you select the cutting option halfway down the page, it'll then give you how many calories you should be having, minus 500. So minus 500 calories to put you in that caloric deficit. Again, understanding the macro breakdown is hugely important. So on the actual website, I'll give you a couple of options for nutrition tracking apps. It's either MyFitnessPal or Chronometer. So I use Chronometer just because it's a little more in depth. It can tell you if you are deficient in any minerals or any vitamins, and also what foods you need to be eating more of to kind of get you out of that deficiency. Then it's time to get the shopping in. What I wanted to do is really cut out anything processed. So I went to the shops, got loads of lean meats, chicken breasts, salmon as well. I know that omega-3 is a really important part too. And fresh vegetables and whole grains. As well as having clean foods, supplements is something that I got as well. Now, I know that some people are against supplementation, other people are for it. I suppose it's completely up to you. Because I was eating in quite a caloric deficit, I wanted to make sure that I was getting all the the vitamins, minerals, etc. that my body needs. So I used Heights Vital Plus, but there are loads of different supplements out there. I think having like a multivitamin is quite beneficial. Not only that, but like omega-3, vitamin D is another good one. But again, with the Chronometer app, it'll tell you exactly where you're at with regards to any supplementation you may need. I also got B vitamin, like a B vitamin dropper, so a sublingual dropper, so for drops underneath the tongue. I did read somewhere that because Mounjaro slows down your digestion, it's more difficult for your body to get the B vitamins from food. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. But I think that the droppers are supposed to kind of stop that from happening. So I have B vitamin droppers daily. Again, I'll put a link in the description for that below. When I started my journey, the first week to 2 weeks, I really struggled to eat a lot. It was very difficult to get the amount of calories I needed, and more importantly, the protein. Keeping your protein levels up, and it's one of the main macros you're going to need on this journey. I really struggled with it. So what I used was Huel meal replacement drinks, Huel protein powders, and also clear whey powders. So even when like a Huel protein shake because it's quite thick, it was a bit too much for me. The clear whey, it's like a fruit juice drink, so it's great to get the protein you need in a drink. The first jab or first injection, now this bit I struggled with. As I've said before, I'm a massive coward when it comes to needles, so I think I waited like 2 or 3 weeks after getting my pen before even doing the first injection. What I will say is the injection doesn't actually hurt. I think the idea of the injection is a lot worse than the actual jab itself. But yeah, building up the courage to actually do it was one of the more difficult parts for me. With the injection sites, there is a mixed review here. I've tried back of the arm, leg and stomach, and ultimately I didn't really find any difference with any of the progress or the pain, if I'm honest, from any of the sites. But I'd just now do it in my stomach. I find it a bit easier. There's a bit more fat there. And it's just a bit easier to do, if I'm completely honest. But, you know, completely up to you where you inject the Mounjaro. But yeah, I've just stuck with the stomach. So the first pen you'll have is a 2.5 milligram. Now, I did weekly injections for, I think, 2 months of 2.5. In one of my next videos on this series, I will talk a bit more about titration, about moving up the doses. But personally, what I'd say here is stick to 2.5 until you need to move up. I think some pharmacies may push it a bit with moving up from 2.5 to 5. But what I would say to anybody is only really move up when you're ready. Like I said, I will go into different ways of dosing, etc., or moving up the doses in a later video, but it's all dependent on the person. You know, when you want to move up, I feel you should, but at the same time, don't be pushed into it, of course. Another good thing to look at is accessories. So if you are thinking of travelling or going somewhere where you're not going to be next to your fridge, getting something like a pen case, you know, one that has ice packs in it, really beneficial. Again, I'll put a link in the description for it. But I got one off Amazon. I think it was kind of 15 quid, something like that. And really beneficial. I went down to Cornwall last weekend and it was brilliant at keeping the pen cold while I travelled. Storing the pen. So there are people that once they start injecting will take it out of the fridge and leave it at room temperature. And I believe you can do for 30 days. I tend to keep mine in the fridge constantly. Because the way I'm dosing at the moment, I'm usually getting more than a month's worth, more than 30 days out of my pen. I like to keep it cold anyway, and it is a biological ingredient, and so just keeping it cold makes it more sense. I did see somewhere that people said it's more painful to inject when it's cold, but I haven't found that, so a bit of a tip is just keep it in the fridge, why not? Another big thing that a lot of people bang on about, you'll hear it constantly, but it is so important, is hydration. Making sure you're drinking more water than you think you need is so important. For everything really. I mean, at the start I got some headaches in the morning, so I was just severely dehydrated. Making sure you're drinking lots and lots of water, really beneficial. If you are working out or doing saunas, steams, etc., then things like electrolytes can help. But yeah, keeping yourself hydrated, hugely important. Also, it stops kind of helps with the constipation side, which isn't fun either. Another good tip is counting the calories before you start. So understanding what you're kind of having calorie-wise on a daily basis before you start this journey, I definitely recommend. Because a lot of people tend to think they're not eating that much. Once you start tracking, you realise the calories in certain foods. I think that can be really beneficial as well. On the next video in this series, it will be tracking everything and the first 2 weeks on Mounjaro. If you have watched till the end, thank you. I will put up a couple of videos in the series here. Until then, thank you again, and I'll see you next time.